Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to talk very briefly about 25 years of the USA, our Fed government at the highest levels, destroying the concept of sovereignty in the world. Now, we could go back all the way to 1898, for example, when we virtually stole Hawaii from the natives there. But I'm going to start 25 years ago this week. That was the invasion of Panama, launched by Poppy Bush, George H.W. Bush, one of the neoliberals that I spoke about in a few previous videos, because that was an especially splashy event, invasion, violation of sovereignty, and it more or less set the stage for, it was the precursor for the 21st century wars that we've been involved in. There's a documentary called The Panama Deception. Maybe you've seen it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube here. It won an Academy Award for Best Documentary in, I think, 1992. If you haven't seen it, you should take a look, because it really does expose the propaganda surrounding that Panama invasion. The key problem here, the key issue is, it's really simple. Do countries other than the USA have sovereignty or not? That's the bottom line. You know, the USA, and I don't mean we the people, I'm talking about the highest levels of the Fed government. They seem to think that they've been appointed by someone, some document. Somehow they've been appointed to spread democracy, to be the savior of the world, and on and on. I don't see any authorization for that. Where is that? I don't see it. They just made that up. They have another agenda here, and I think most people are beginning to realize it. It isn't about we're going to free this people or that people, or we're going to spread democracy, or, you know, we're going to save the poor people over here or over there. That's not what it's about. It's about power. It's about economic power. It's about financial power. It's about power, period. In Panama, the excuse given was that Manuel Noriega, was a drug dealer and a drug pusher, and eventually in the corporate media, they had this big splash about how he was a voodoo worshiper and dead chickens were involved. I mean, it was hilarious. Those were the excuses given, and also something about there were threats to our military down there. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of all that. It's in the documentary. Take a look. But the fact of the matter is, Noriega worked for the CIA for almost 25 years. And he ran drugs for the CIA. They were selling drugs to get money to fund the, what were they called? The Contras in Nicaragua. That was Noriega's function. But then, rather suddenly, apparently they the feds in D.C. grew disenchanted with Noriega. For one thing, he supported some Central American peace conference that the Fed government was totally against. That's the last thing we want, is peace. That's no good. And also, they didn't like his changing views on Nicaragua, the civil war that was going on in Nicaragua. So, he's demonized. Now, I'm not saying he was a good guy. I don't know anything about him, really. Maybe he was a son of a bitch. I don't know. But the reasons given were not the true reasons. And that happens a lot with the USA and smaller, almost defenseless countries. So, we invaded Panama. According to the propaganda from the corporate media, from the Fed government, only about a couple hundred civilians were killed, collateral damage, the big excuse all the time for killing innocent people. Well, it turns out 3,000 to 4,000 civilians were killed. During this week, 25 years ago, the invasion was launched at midnight. People were, at that time, getting ready for Christmas, and most of them were sleeping at midnight. In the first hour or two, our planes dropped about 400 bombs on poor neighborhoods. It was just horrendous, and all because we didn't like Noriega. We, meaning the Fed government, not we the people. Eventually, he was tried in Miami, I think it was, in, I believe, 91 or 92. And all of the government witnesses confirmed his defense that he had been working for the CIA. Well, anyway, he was, sent to prison and blah, blah, blah. Poppy Bush touted the whole thing as a wonderful victory, and now the Panamanians were free and they had their democracy back, and he says, quote, "We have finally put the Vietnam syndrome to rest," unquote. Like that's a good reason to go to war. Actually, he confirmed the Vietnam syndrome, because the real Vietnam syndrome is that we did then and continue to do this. We intervene in other countries' business. And a lot of times it's civil wars that we're intervening in. We need to mind our own business. Of course, many will say, well, we're protecting our country and this and that and the other. Not just spreading freedom and democracy, but protecting the homeland. Yeah. Well, I'm all for protecting the homeland. But that doesn't mean that the USA can say to other countries, look, you don't have sovereignty. We are the only ones that have sovereignty. So we're going to violate your sovereignty because we don't like you. This is sheer insanity, people. Empires do this all the time, but our government claims that, no, this is not an American empire. We're not any kind of empire. We're just helping out people around the world and protecting our homeland. Yeah, right. Now, this is about economic power, financial power. It's about access, not owning, but access to the world's natural resources, the world's shrinking natural resources. That's what all this is about. And the primary beneficiaries are mega multinational corporations. So we need to wake up and stop drinking the Edward Bernays style propaganda Kool-Aid in this country. Now, I admit I used to drink it. Hell, I drank it by the gallon years and years ago. But you know, if you start to broaden your sources of information and you start doing some research, things don't seem to quite make sense the way the Fed government says they make sense. This is one of the reasons that the oligarchy fears the internet, because the internet is the world's greatest library. Now, they're always poo-pooing it, you know, the big mucky-whups in the corporate media or in the Fed government. You know, you always hear bad things about the internet on the corporate media outlets. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, there may be some junk on the internet, but there's so much on the internet that it's very easy to sift through the sources when you're researching something and pick out legitimate, solid sources. It's child's play to do that. So don't listen to the oligarchs regarding the internet. I think most people realize the internet is not only the greatest library ever created, it's also the greatest democratizing force in the world. And that's why the rich and powerful fear it. And that's why they're opposing it. And I covered some of that in a previous video. Anyway, in terms of Panama and the 25 years since, basically the Fed government is saying to the world, we are the only country that has sovereignty that should be respected. The rest of you are out of luck. That's nuts. It's just craziness. And for some reason, we the people, or at least many of us, or perhaps most of us, seem to buy that argument. Bottom line, a country either has sovereignty or it doesn't. Make up your mind. Okay, that's enough. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and you be well. All right, let me get out of here. Still looking for my single button that says stop. That's too easy. They don't want to put that up here. All right, take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.